The thing that did it for me was realizing that my 20s was the same amount of time, stay with me, that was the same amount of time as the first 10 years of my life and my teenage years. The first 10 years of your life and the second 10 years of your life feel like that. They feel like nothing because you barely have consciousness, you barely have self-awareness, you barely have language skills, you barely have anything, okay? That's the first 10 years of your life. Next 10 years of your life, your teenage years, you also barely have anything because you have no autonomy, you have no money, you don't have a job usually, like you're just trying to figure out how to use your brain, and even then, you don't get all the way there. Now come your 20s. Your 20s are the first decade of your life that you actually have anything. You have working use of your brain. Not fully, but it's there, right? You've got working use of your brain, you've got language skills, you've got some freedom, you've got a little bit of money. And so now you're just testing the waters to like figure out what kind of adult can I be? What kind of adult is possible for me to be? That's 10 years, okay? That 10 years feels like a long time because you have full consciousness, right? You're not a baby. You have full consciousness, you have full control over your decisions. Those 10 years feel like a long time. Here's the thing. That was your first decade of truly living. Because the first decade of your life is like surviving. The second decade is learning. And the third decade, which is your 20s, the third decade is like, okay, let's see what you are gonna do. Not forever, but let's see how you get started. So when I hit my 30s, I was like, oh my God, I get to do my 20s all over again. That's how it felt. It was like, oh, I get another decade. I think about it in terms of decades. I get a fresh new decade. Nothing monumental has changed in my life. I'm not married, I don't have kids. If I was able to accomplish everything that I did in my 20s, which granted, I did okay, I did okay in my 20s. I can just do that again? I've got another decade to do all of that? That is crazy. It never occurred to me before that like your 30s, that's the same amount of time as your 20s, but you've already got this like head start basically. Your 20s are your opportunity to lay some foundations. Your 20s should be about education, exploration, and exposure, okay? Go out and see some stuff. Go to a different country. Be around people who do not speak your native language. Even if it's for a week, just expose yourself to some different things. Learn. Read books, yes, but get a formal education. Like, you have to do it. You have to have someone coming along beside you saying, no, this is wrong. That's not the right answer, and this is why. Like, there's a reason why professors make money. They know things that you don't. And watching something on YouTube is just not the same. Like, yeah, the information might be the same, but that's not learning. Getting information is not learning. You need someone to teach you these things. So get an education, get a formal education in your 20s. It would be radical. It would be also kind of strange for you to accomplish everything and make all the big decisions of your life while you're in your 20s. Because guess what's coming next? Your 30s, and then your 40s, and then your 50s, and your 60s, and your 70s, and your 80s, and your 90s. That is a long time to live with the choices that you committed to in your 20s. So now I'm like, oh, I'm so glad I didn't make any big life-changing decisions in my 20s because I don't want to live with those choices forever. I don't want the decade of my 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. 70 years because of decisions that I made in that first 10-year window that I was a real adult? No, thank you. No, thank you. Not that everything should be made a law, but like, please don't get married before you're 30. Please don't. I think the age of consent should be 30. Like, stop. Everyone stop what you're doing. Your 20s are the first time that you have language skills, cognitive reasoning for the most part, freedom, a little bit of money, a little bit of responsibility, and you get like okay, what are you gonna do with all of these things? You've got these things now, what are you gonna do with it? That's your 20s. And if you get it wrong, like, that makes sense. It kind of makes sense because it was your first go of it. Your 30s, that's your next go, okay? You've learned from your 20s. So don't put so much pressure on yourself to like get it right in this first 10 years because you've got like 7 more chunks of 10 years ahead of you.